Hello, my name is Matteo Mecacci. I'm the president of the International Campaign for Tibet, and today I'm with Tenzin Dorjee, who is the chairman of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. And actually, we are at the venue where the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, where we just held a conference together with the Vietnam Committee on Human Rights on religious freedom in Tibet and Vietnam. And this is a topic that I also discussed a couple of weeks ago when I was in Europe, both in Geneva and Brussels for meetings, and you will read more about my trip there with our chairman Richard Gere in the other stories in the Tibet update. But for this story, I wanted to introduce Tenzin Dorjee to you all. He was recently nominated as chairman of the U.S. Commission on Religious Freedom, and the year before he was appointed to the commission by leader Nancy Pelosi. So we are very proud to have you here, and I wanted you to share your experience as a commissioner briefly with our members, and then speak a little bit about this conference that we had today.
Okay. Thank you very much, Matteo. And yes, in 2016, I was nominated by Leader Pelosi and appointed by the House of Representatives as a commissioner on the USERV, and I served almost 2 years. And during that time, I went on an official trip to Burma, Myanmar, with my dear colleague Christina Arriaga, Commissioner, and we also went to Iraq and Kurdistan. And so, during those visits, we met with government officials and religious leaders, NGOs, interfaith groups, and so we get to listen to different perspectives on religious freedom conditions in those countries. And I wish and hope I can do that more, but as a professor with heavy teaching load, it's very hard for me to travel to many countries. And so then I got reappointed this year, and then last June, Christina Arriaga and I have been reappointed, but the rest commissioners are new, and so they unanimously elected me as the chair of the commission, which is a great honor, but now I have a lot of responsibilities on my shoulder. As a chair, as a commissioner, we really have to work for the freedom of religion or belief across the world, not in particular countries. So I'm not commissioner for Tibet, but I'm a commissioner for international religious freedom. That being said, I'm a Tibetan American, I'm a Buddhist, and especially so at this conference on Buddhism in Vietnam and Tibet under threat, religious freedom issues. So I came and spoke as the chair of the commission, and especially as chair, as a Buddhist, as a Tibetan. I think this might perhaps provided a different perspective, because I grew up as a Tibetan refugee in India, so I have experienced what it means religious freedom is important, and back in Tibet, so I'm really happy, and thank you for inviting me to be one of the speakers.
Yeah, and specifically on Tibet, you have also taken up the case of the Panchen Lama, right?
Yes, commissioners have adopted what we call prisoners of conscience from different countries, and I adopted Panchen Lama Gendin Shojin. And now, because Commissioner Sandra Jolie, her term was up last term, so I also adopted Gulmira Imen from East Turkestan or Xinjiang as my prisoner of conscience. So yes, at any given events, opportunities, I have advocated for the release of the Panchen Lama Gendin Shojin. I did at least 2 hearings, like Tom Lando's Human Rights Commission, talk about the freedom issues in Tibet, Panchen Lama, reincarnation issues. I did the same thing with Congressional Executive Commission on China. And so now I might get more opportunities in the future. The only thing that has changed is now I will be speaking as a chair of the commission, not just as a commissioner.
Yes, and so you will read more about this conference in the Tibet update, and also actually in the next 10 days here in Washington, D.C., the U.S. government will convene the first ministerial conference on religious freedom. So as International Campaign for Tibet, we will also participate, and so we'll be able to report to you on that in the next issue of the Tibet Update. Thank you very much, and thank you, Tenzin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.